Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Team Kentucky Update. I'm Andy, and today we have some exciting announcements on the economic development front and so much more. Today, I want to talk about a program that's helping prepare us for even more success in the future. During my first term, we already broke the record for any governor, whether it's 1 or 2 terms, in terms of private sector investment in creating new jobs here in Kentucky. And now we are over 51,200 new jobs announced in just the last 4 years and about a week. To continue this economic prosperity and attract even more companies to Kentucky, we have to continue to invest in site development. We're working with communities to develop their sites to be build ready. In Kentucky, what we promote is that we are the fastest to market. What's called speed to market is so critical to companies. If we can get them up in an operation faster than our surrounding states in terms of competitiveness and overall profit, it makes us more appealing to locate in than those other states. To do that, we have to have the best sites with the most advanced infrastructure. And we've had so many companies locate. It means we have to continue to do the work to make sure we have that next site and the next one. And we've got to make sure we're making investments in areas that haven't seen enough jobs. So the great part about this program is we can continue our economic momentum and at the same time ensure that it reaches every part of Kentucky. With that, I have some great news to share with you today. 46 site and building development projects across 45 counties have now moved into the due diligence stage of round 2 of the Kentucky Product Development Initiative. The counties are Adair, Bell, Boone, Breckenridge, Boyd, Butler, Caldwell, Campbell, Clark, Clay, Clinton, Edmondson, Floyd, Franklin, Fulton, Garrett, Graves, Greene, Harrison, Hickman, Hopkins, Jessamine, Knox, LaRue, Laurel, Logan, Lyon, McCracken, Montgomery, Nelson, Oldham, Ohio, Perry, Pike, Pulaski, Rockcastle. I just remembered that we likely have Rachel, making sure that everyone gets access, and I'm going really quickly through counties. Rowan, Scott, Shelby, Simpson, Todd, Trigg, Wayne, Webster, and Woodford. Provided all of these applications, which have already gotten through the first round of approval, get through the due diligence stage, it will be another $68.8 million in state investment, matched by local investment in these areas that can really help move these sites forward and ultimately attract an important employer. Round 1 of this program concluded earlier this month with 53 sites statewide approved for $31 million of funding. Including local contributions, the first round resulted in $123 million in investment in Kentucky's site and building portfolio. The initiative is a crucial effort to ensure that we have sites available for new opportunities and for expansions for growing Kentucky companies. I want to congratulate these communities. It is exciting, and we'll talk about the budget here in a little bit, but we've asked to re-up this program. And if you combine these 46 projects with what happened in the first round, what you see is these dollars are going everywhere to give every county, every region, the opportunity to compete on the economic development, but also the tourism front. I'm happy to share some exciting news about growth and momentum within the bourbon industry with a new development project coming to Fayette County. RD1 Spirits is developing a destination honoring Lexington's connection to the bourbon industry, both past and future. The $4.8 million project will have tours, personalized blending experiences, tasting rooms, a cocktail bar, a gift shop, and event space, making it a must-visit destination for both bourbon enthusiasts and tourists alike. Once fully operational, the project is expected to create about 11 full-time jobs, but we believe attract a lot more development. We have a record-breaking economy, and last year was the best on record for Kentucky tourism. Kentucky tourism last year contributed $12.9 billion in economic impact. It is such an important industry to so many parts of Kentucky, and RD1 Spirits is just helping us move forward and offer that next important experience. Next, we have an update on healthcare access in the Commonwealth. I've always said that healthcare is a basic human right. We've seen some amazing progress. We protected healthcare access for nearly 100,000 Kentuckians by removing government roadblocks. We expanded Medicaid coverage for new mothers. We boosted our workforce by adding dental, vision, and hearing coverage. We capped the cost of insulin, and we expanded healthcare all over the Commonwealth, including the fact that we're building the first hospital in West Louisville in 150 years. We also took a huge step forward in providing care for Kentuckians when we relaunched and expanded the state's insurance market called Connect. And today we have an announcement about how we're making care even more accessible. I'm proud to announce that a group of our connectors, the true boots on the ground that help Kentuckians across the Commonwealth access healthcare coverage, are now stationed at Kentucky's community and technical colleges full time. They are there to help the more than 100,000 students in our community and technical schools find quality, affordable healthcare coverage that works best for them. And this assistance is completely free. This initiative is a great example of what it means to move forward together. We are ensuring that our leaders of tomorrow have the support they need to succeed today. So to all of our KCTCS students, we've got people there ready to make sure you have healthcare coverage and the right healthcare coverage, because we want to make sure that you are successful. This is just another way to remove some of the difficulties or challenges, to meet people where they are, and to make sure that they not only have healthcare coverage, but they're getting the preventative screenings, having the regular doctor's visits they need. One of the biggest challenges we have in this state is the health of our people, and this is an opportunity to move forward and improve our outcomes. If you need assistance or you are ready to enroll, don't forget, the deadline to sign up for Connect is January the 16th. Please go to connect.ky.gov or call 1-855-4CONNECT. So the end of the year is a time of family togetherness as well as celebrations for many religious traditions. But unfortunately, this year's festivities arrived with threats of violence recently made against synagogues here in Kentucky. These threats have led to evacuations over the last several weeks, and we are seeing a spike in anti-Semitism nationwide. There is no place for hate of any kind in Kentucky. We are one team, Team Kentucky. It is everyone's responsibility to speak out loudly against hatred and violence, against racism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, all of them. All forms of hate are wrong. So today I'm announcing the formation of the Kentucky Anti-Semitism Task Force. This task force will work as part of my governor's office of faith-based initiatives. I've named 18 members to the initial task force, including public officials, as well as religious and community leaders. In addition, the police chiefs of Lexington and Louisville will be ex officio members. The Kentucky Anti-Semitism Task Force will help guide this administration and our entire Commonwealth and make sure we're getting it right, that everyone in our Commonwealth is treated like the child of God, the human being that they are. With the task force, we are letting Kentuckians of all faiths who may be hurting during this time say that we see you and we will keep fighting against hate. Among the task force responsibilities will be to conduct a comprehensive review of the state of anti-Semitism within Kentucky. The task force will also assess the state of anti-Semitism and Holocaust education in Kentucky and advise on training programs for law enforcement relating to hate crimes. I remember one early example in the administration when there was a symbol in some training materials that many people didn't recognize was anti-Semitic. And so it's so important that we have those that know, that experience it, that feel it, that can guide us and make sure that we're not missing a thing, and that we get, whether it's these training materials or our approach, that we get it right. I want to personally thank the task force members who are giving their time and lending their experience with this crucial endeavor. We've got a couple of video messages as well as a quote from new task force members. We'll start, I think, with Senator Burke.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And Governor, thank you so much for convening this commission. You know, some people are actually taught to distrust or be scared of or even hate other groups of people based on something as simple as the color of their skin, the language they speak, or the country they were born in, who they pray to, and who they love. And these divisions can be used to weaken our society and turn people against each other. So I think this is a great opportunity for us as a state to come together, explore some of the reasons that people are scared of other groups, and see what we can do as a state to bring people together. Because I believe in the people of Kentucky. I believe that hate does not win in this state. So thank you, Governor, and I'm very excited to get to work.
Next up, we have a video from former State Treasurer Jonathan Miller.
I was born and raised in Kentucky with a strong Jewish faith, and I found that for most of my life, especially during the time that I was traveling the state as an elected official, that the vast majority of Kentuckians show great respect for my religious tradition. Unfortunately, we've entered an era today of rising anti-Semitism. We've seen it with hate-filled screeds on social media and bomb threats being called into our local synagogues. It's a scary time to be Jewish, particularly when you have kids or grandkids who are most affected. That's why the work of this task force is so important. And it goes beyond the issue of anti-Semitism. It's consistent with Andy Beshear's administration of leading from the heart and focusing on the central commandment from the Hebrew Bible, to love your neighbor as yourself. I'm proud to serve on this task force and look forward to a good work ahead.
While the task force is primarily made up of individuals of the Jewish faith and that are big parts of our communities here in Kentucky, it brings together people of multiple faiths to be able to have the right types of dialogue and to show that we're against hate in all of its forms. One of our leaders in this state in the area of compassion for everyone is Dr. Bourbon out of Louisville. He has been appointed to this task force, and he has a quote for us today. He's about to leave the country, so we couldn't get the full video made. Dr. Bourbon says we all should stand united against anti-Semitism to promote understanding and respect for all cultures and religions. Together, we can work towards a world where every individual is valued irrespective of their race, gender, belief system, or sexual orientation. Dr. Bourbon was just part of the inauguration and of our worship service, where we wanted to make sure we had members of all faith. I finally want to thank Representative Daniel Grossberg, who was one of the leaders in bringing this to fruition here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and admittedly pushed and pushed and pushed, but that's what it takes to get important things done. And especially after Jonathan called me this weekend and his synagogue had been evacuated based on a bomb threat that has been sent all over the country. And you know, while the initial reaction, if it's sent all over the country, it's probably a hoax you'd think would make you feel better. It means that so many other people across the country felt fear, felt attacked. And so this was the right time for the launching of this task force. And I look forward to listening, to learning, as does this administration, to again, make sure we send a loud and clear message that hate has no place in Kentucky, that everyone is welcome here, that everyone should be able to live in peace and practice their religion as they choose. We should value each other in the most special of ways. All right, to move from that, we're going to talk about license plate changes. As a Cavis reminder, My administration continues to work hard every day to deliver first-class services to Kentuckians. One way is to make sure we have modern and efficient services and practices. I want to highlight 2 changes to take note of that start in the new year that will improve vehicle services. As a reminder, county clerk offices will temporarily pause car and boat services. All offices will stop those services starting January 1st. That is so that we can fully upload the new system that's been needed for about 8 years. We have to get it done, and this is how we are going to get it done. The change will mainly affect anyone who plans to sell, buy, or register a vehicle in Kentucky in January while services are paused. This includes services like vehicle and boat registrations, title transfers, and license plate issuances. During this time, online vehicle registration renewal will also be shut down. The week of January 8th, county clerk offices will gradually begin to resume services, and we expect the system to be functional statewide by the end of that week, the week of January 8th. So check with your county clerk for specific reopening dates, since it will vary by counties. It is important to note, based on structural changes over the last 4 years, this will not impact driver's license issuance at driver's licensing regional offices. Remember, the clerks don't do driver's licensing anymore. We do that as the state with regional offices. We continue to open all across the state. So in those first 2 weeks of January, you can still come in to renew your driver's license. You can still come in to take the test. If you're just turning 16 and getting qualified, you don't have to wait an extra week. I remember when I did, we had a massive ice storm, and I was upset I couldn't come in right away. And of course, it was all closed anyways because of the weather. With the rollout of KVIS, records will be linked to customers instead of vehicles. That's the big change that's going to make us more efficient. And with a better system in place, we can implement more improvements that the current system won't support. Let me give you an example. Because we're now linked to a person instead of a vehicle, one of the improvements is once the new system is up and running, the next time Kentuckians sell or transfer a car, you'll get to keep your license plate. Think about people who have the specialty plates. Right now, having to potentially change those when they get a new vehicle. Now that license plate can follow you, the individual, instead of being tied tied to the vehicle. Currently, standard plates stay with the car when it's sold. So if you like your license plate, you're going to have a chance to keep it when you sell your vehicle. There's some real benefits to the change. Specialty plate holders don't have to buy a standard plate when they sell their car, and all plate owners can carry over their remaining registration lifespan to a new vehicle. That potentially helps a lot of Kentuckians save some money. More information is available at drive.ky.gov. Next up, some great news for the season. Our annual Kentucky State Police Cram the Cruiser food drive has gone well, and it's pretty amazing in what they've done. Each year, all 16 KSP posts collect essential food items to brighten the holiday season for those in need. This year, from November 21st to December 4th, troopers accepted donations from Kentuckians at various grocery and retail stores. And I'm proud to say, thanks to the generosity of Kentuckians, y'all always come through. KSP was able to collect 162,047 pounds of food. That is 83 tons of food that'll be distributed to Kentucky families this Christmas. Time and time again, Kentuckians step up to help their neighbors. We help one another. We show love. We show that we are one big Team Kentucky. To all those who donated, thank you. And to our state police, thank you for continuing to try to protect us in so many different ways. As we approach the new year in Frankfort, we are required to present a budget proposal to the General Assembly to consider the first week of January. So on Monday, less than 1 week after being sworn in for my second term, I unveiled our Forward Together budget proposal in an address to Kentuckians that aired on KET television. So today, I want to take a moment to talk about how important this proposal is to helping our families and moving our state forward. Remember, a budget isn't just a series of numbers. It is a values document. It shows what is most important to Kentuckians and how we should spend our treasured resources. This one shows how much we prioritize public education in our Kentucky families by funding the largest single pay raise for public school educators and staff in nearly 40 years. It fully funds universal pre-K, and it provides support for child care providers, an unprecedented level of state support. Our $136.6 billion two-year budget aims to address the concerns that families worry about the most. Now, sometimes it can get lost in different arguments that occur primarily in Washington, D.C., that our families don't wake up thinking about Democrat versus Republican or red versus blue or who the next president's going to be. They're thinking about their job and do they make enough to support their family, the safety of the roads they're going to travel on that day, the public school they're dropping their child at, how safe they feel, the size of their bills, and will that water or power bill be going up? These are the places that aren't partisan at all, where we can focus and truly create a better life for our people and move forward together. We are working to address those actual things, the ones that are important to everyone and that don't leave anyone out. So here are some of the key investments I want to see the General Assembly consider and approve. First, we have to do more to support public education and our educators. That's why I'm proposing to provide $1.1 billion over the 2-year period to fund an 11% raise to all public school employees. That means teachers, bus drivers, custodians, cafeteria workers, mental health professionals in our schools. It means everyone. This increase would bring Kentucky's average teacher starting pay to $42,191, which would move us up to 24th in the country, according to the latest NEA rankings. The pay raise would also bring Kentucky up to 25th in average teacher salary from its current ranking of 40th. Just imagine the local impact of an 11% raise in what is typically the largest employer in many of our counties. It's not just going to help these families. It's going to be transformational for these families, but it's going to have a major economic impact. More dollars to spend in our local restaurants and stores. The impact on these local economies is going to be incredible and help us to continue this big economic boom we're seeing here in Kentucky. The plan also provides $172 million each year to fund universal pre-K for every 4-year-old. What that means is 34,000 additional Kentucky kids will get pre-K that currently don't. That's the reason that 54% of our children show up and aren't ready for kindergarten on that first day. The way we do this also provides unprecedented state funding to support childcare and incentivizes them to focus on 0 up to 4 years old when they would move to universal pre-K. By doing that, we will free up thousands of new slots so that more parents can find childcare all over Kentucky. Among many other things, our plan fully funds teacher pensions and student transportation and will help build new career and technical education centers. Second, this budget moves critical infrastructure projects forward. It includes $500 million in grants to county and local governments for important water and sewer projects. These can help us replace crumbling infrastructure, get water to homes and communities that have never had it, and because they're grants, won't raise anyone's water bill for this investment. We also are pushing to expand high-speed internet access into every home, and all the General Assembly has to do is appropriate the federal funds that we've previously announced. $1.1 billion we'll see over these next 2 years. We're seeking $300 million over 2 years to continue and speed up the 4-laning of the Mountain Parkway as well as the I-69 project in the west. We're also creating a $50 million grant fund for repairing more city and county bridges across the state. One-time funds are being proposed to underwrite a 1-year tax credit for Kentuckians for tolls they pay over the Louisville, Jefferson County bridges during calendar year 2024. To keep the state's red-hot economy booming and to make sure every community has an opportunity to land a new employer, our plan includes $200 million over the next 2 years, $100 million for mega development projects, and another $100 million for the KPDI program that we talked about earlier. We know it works. Just look at Mayfield. We announced one of the first KPDI grants 6 months after the tornadoes. 1 year after the tornadoes, we announced a big employer was coming there. They've already broken ground and are working on that construction. 80 plus good jobs coming to Mayfield. That is how this program works and how successful that it is. To help continue tourism sector growth, which had its best year on record in 2022, we're proposing to use the $71 million set aside in the previous session to improve our state parks. Our plan also includes $184 million in projects ranging from reconstruction of marinas to a new conference center to updating critical electrical and water systems throughout our state parks. To boost public safety, I've proposed an additional $2,500 raise for all KSP troopers and officers and enough funding to add 150 more troopers over the next 2 years. We're also once again raising the training stipend the state pays to local and state law enforcement officers and local firefighters, and for the first time add certified part-time local law enforcement to that stipend. We've proposed a $35 million fund for body armor to protect law enforcement all over Kentucky with the very best protection, as well as $146.1 million to construct a Western Kentucky Regional Training Center to expand law enforcement training, especially in Western Kentucky. When it comes to justice-involved youth, my budget proposal provides funding for 2 new female-only juvenile detention centers because we cannot house boys and girls in the same facility ever again. It is just not safe. We also provide additional funding for the Jefferson County Youth Detention Center, and we retrofit a number of our youth detention facilities to make sure we have the very best physical security. To boost mental health services, we're supporting mobile crisis intervention services. These community-based programs will provide trained health professionals to respond to Kentuckians battling addiction or behavioral health crisis. That means people aren't going to the ER or to jail. When they are having a mental health crisis, they'll be talking to people that can help them directly. And we're providing $10 million each year in increased rates for relative caregivers who agree to take a child in our foster care system. So right now, foster care parents get a certain rate that helps them to take care of our youth that are in foster care. But if you are a relative and that child is in the foster care system, you get a lower rate. That's not right. And we want to encourage more relatives that know and love these children, that the children probably feel safer with. And we want to make sure that we are providing them the same support that we've provided to what we call traditional foster parents in the past. These are just a few key areas and investments that are included in our budget plan that will help move us forward. Final piece to know on this budget is it is not just structurally sound, it is conservative. Despite the record size of it, which is driven by our record-breaking economy, we do not touch the rainy day fund, the largest in our history, at $3.7 billion. And it has less borrowing than the plan passed by the General Assembly just 2 years ago. One-time revenue is only spent on one-time investments. And so it ensures that we can continue every bit of new spending like educator raises well into the future. You know, this is the way we lift up every Kentuckians. None of these programs, again, are partisan at all. They're just ways for us to move forward together. And finally, for our Team Kentucky All-Star, we are just 4 days away from Christmas. And Brittany and I want to wish everyone across the Commonwealth a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I hope these days are full of joy, love, and special memories with loved ones. This is a time of year we lift up our friends and families. It's an important time for the faith of so many of our people, and we engage in the spirit of giving. So for this week, we wanted to recognize somebody that involves that spirit of giving, Santa Claus. Santa brings so much joy to our kids across the Commonwealth, and let me tell you, this guy can do anything. He pushed through the polar plunge last year. Weather has never stopped him from making it, and he fills the season with magic, with hope, kindness, and the types of smiles. And Santa has been good to Kentucky. Now, he showed up after tornadoes and brought not just replacement gifts, but so much more for these kids that had lost all of their toys. He showed up after flooding, and even once in July, I saw Santa Claus in shorts, which was new and interesting. But Santa Claus here in Kentucky has been such a mainstay, especially to our kids that have been through a lot. And I want to thank our state employees especially, but also so many others and those that came to the inauguration for also helping to spread Christmas joy by donating presents and journals to Zero V. So when children, especially during this season, are fleeing from violence, they will be met in a center that's there to protect them, but also with that stuffed animal that maybe can bring a smile to a scared child and help them in that time of need. So this week's Team Kentucky All-Star is Santa Claus, along with everybody out there that helps Santa do his very important work. Let's thank Mrs. Claus too. Brittany had a moment with kids where he's reading Pete the Cat Saves Christmas. And one of them asked, well, wait a minute. Why didn't Santa ask Mrs. Claus? Why did he ask Pete the Cat? That was a really good question. So let's recognize Mrs. Claus for everything that she does to make Christmas so special. So Merry Christmas, Kentucky. Happy holidays to everybody. Please have a happy, healthy season. And in our gift, our Christmas gift to Kentucky journalists, we will not have a Team Kentucky update next week. We have two of those journalists here with us today. Let's start with Carolina.
Governor, regarding the task force, of course, we're seeing these anti-Semitic incidents across just about everywhere now, but here in Kentucky, how concerning are these threats? And then also, do you believe that the work of this task force will be enough to make a difference?
Well, I think the work of this task force and the individuals on it will be special and will help all of us to do better. I think every time we do better, it makes a difference. And it will help many people recognize something as anti-Semitic that they might not have otherwise known. Sometimes it's the education and being able to sit across the table and sometimes to see how something that you might have thought was benign truly hurts another individual. But on the very serious side, yes, there are threats that are out there. We see them across the country, and over the past 2 weeks, we've had synagogues have to evacuate during services. Nobody should ever have to go through that. You know, a lot of us out there have been through a bomb threat, and they can be really scary. Now think about one in your house of worship where you believe you are targeted because of your religion. And we look at history, and we have to take anti-Semitism very seriously for the horrific acts like the Holocaust that have occurred in the past. I believe that this group absolutely will make a difference, and that we will make a very loud statement, but also hopefully take loud actions that tell the rest of the world that anti-Semitism or hate of any kind will not be tolerated in Kentucky. Tom.
Thank you, Governor. The figures released this morning show unemployment in Kentucky has increased for 2 months in a row now. Are you concerned at all that this may be the start of a trend, or do you think this is a kind of a blip in the statistics?
So Kentucky's unemployment rate, I think, increased 0.1% last month to this month, and the same before. Statistically, it's very small. We feel good about where the overall unemployment rate is. In fact, most economists think it needs to be at a certain place, and that low unemployment can be a challenge. As governor, I want unemployment to be as low as it possibly can, regardless of what an economist tells me. This is the longest period that we have ever seen unemployment this low. And while we will monitor it, there are actually some good numbers in that too. So when you look at employment, we can track that. The unemployment rate, when we look at it, can tell us both some people have gone from employed to unemployed. But what it also tells us is more people who are out of the job market are now looking in the job market. That is a good sign for these job openings that we have out there. We need more people who have been out of the job market getting back in. So an uptick in the unemployment rate itself isn't concerning if a big part of that, or a part of it, is people coming in looking for jobs again. I also don't want to discount the fact that there are a lot of new good jobs out there. And there are going to be some people who take the opportunity to better their lives and their families' lives. And there's certainly periods of transition when people decide they're going to gain new skills and seek new jobs. So we're still at a really good place. We've had some really good years. And I expect on the economic development side, next year has a chance to maybe not reach, but rival 2021 and 2022. And if that happens, it'll be really exciting. All right, everybody have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, be safe out there. We're not expecting any major weather event this year except some rain that's coming our way still. Be careful in the rain on the roadways. We care about y'all. This is the season of love. Kentuckians, we love each and every one of you. Have a great week.